Well,
I will go to bed sleeping every night. I will go to bed sleeping every night knowing I did the right thing for this show. I did the right thing for Decker. I did the right thing for me. You go f*** yourself.
and that's what we're starting with, because I'm not using the normal theme song anymore. I'm going to have to do something different. That's what you're hearing. So, post-election, I'm really upset. Of course, I'm sure anyone who listens to this is, except for whoever's probably listening to this right now that is currently harassing and doxing me on Twitter right now. I'm sure you're listening to this right now. The person who's following me, screenshotting my photo from my board seat, my local position, and posting it all over Twitter and with my full name, first and last. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. But I don't know if you know our previous theme song, but you can go back and listen to older episodes. I appreciate it. So, I don't know if you know, but Donald Trump won the election. This is Inane Blather, episode 118, blah, 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 blah. And
right now you're very close to a world war on this whole.
That's what I'm thinking. We got Natalie and Humberto on the show. Say hello.
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 Nice.
Okay.
That's the new theme song.
Right. Very, the Three Stooges cover. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and one of my favorite people. Oh, he's so smart.
But that's our new theme song. No, if you make me do that again.
You do that again, I'm going to come over there and physically assault you with this.
But anyway, it's funny. I've had so much to say, and now as soon as we press record, I'm like, okay, where do I start? I've just been so upset. And the thing is, last night, the first word that's come to mind over and over and over again is embarrassing. So fucking embarrassing. I've been so embarrassed. But yesterday, the first thing is this country is embarrassing. These people are embarrassing, what is it?
These people are sick.
No. But really, the further I get away from it, it's only been a day, but of course I'm not mad at the people. Well, of course I'm mad at a lot of people, but what's truly embarrassing is the Democratic Party. It's so embarrassing. Kamala Harris lost the popular vote to Donald Trump. It's the first Democrat to lose the popular vote since 2004.
Who was that? Kerry?
John Kerry. Yeah.
Never
and
heard
even
of
the
him.
previous election, George W. Bush didn't even win the popular vote. Good Lord, woman. No. But not even, and it's not her. She's just the face of a really horrible campaign. And it just goes to show how bad this messaging is when her team and her campaign goes out with a ground game that's 1,000,000 times better than Hillary's was. She goes to all of these swing states, knocking so many more doors, spends a literal $1 billion campaigning, gets $1 billion, and still has such an ineffective message that she gets 15 million fewer voters showing up. What the fuck? So
It's inflation,
went wrong.
You have to pay a lot more and get a lot less.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
$1
yeah,
billion?
that's what it was. Well, that needed
does
to
that
be
get you
addressed
nowadays?
by the administration she was a part of, right?
What I think would have
Jesus
been a good
criminy.
idea is to just finally someone say, you know what? I'm the vice president. I don't really do much in the way of like policy direction and all that. That's not my job. I'm the tying vote in the Senate. I have other responsibilities, blah, 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 blah. So just go with that and like really... Well,
and then
obviously, yeah.
set
Separate
yourself apart from Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. And who fucking cares? You're the vice president. You don't do anything anyways, and he's on his way out. Oh my God, he's not going to be president. Yeah, it's
there's
really,
a lot
really
that I disagree with
in
Joe
them.
Biden on, and with things that he actually did right that the American people aren't understanding. Like, you have to understand that, we're so propagandized, like that the GOP and the right wing have such effective messaging for all the wrong reasons. They're such productive liars, like on social media and all this stuff. Like, to think that like we have open borders and Haitian migrants eating cats and like inflation is still out of control, when none of those things are true. The people still think that. But when the Biden administration has really like taken care of all those things, but people don't think it, you have to like prove to the American people with solid messaging that actually Biden has taken care of this, and I'm going to do more for you. At least promise something better. Get it through people's heads that they're going to get something from you. Not be like, no, I'm going to be just like Biden, because actually things are good for you right now. That's not a winning message. Doesn't matter. People don't think things are good for them. That's why Biden isn't running, because he's not popular. He's not a good president. It's like they never acknowledged the fact that he didn't have good approval. And what, you're going to go on The View and literally say you're not going to be different than Joe Biden? The fuck is wrong with you? But all of this being said, I realized today, I wrote down in here, in my notes. I mean, I know that, things have been called this and that, but Kamala still has a path to the presidency.
Oh.
Because between now and January 20th, Joe Biden could die.
Or he could resign. Imagine.
And she could assume the role of the presidency.
That's so funny.
And it goes without saying, all these blue MAGA freaks that are already going on and on. I shared them with you in the group chat, going on and on about Trump cheating in the election. Although it is funny, like, how brazen the lies on that side are. How during Election Day, Trump was already screaming about widespread voter fraud in Pennsylvania, and as soon as Pennsylvania was being called for him, he said, never mind, we were wrong. No voter fraud. I was like, are you kidding me, dude?
Don't worry about
he
it.
literally said that like a joke. Like, people played it off like it was a joke, where he's like, well, if we lose, it's voter fraud, and if we win, there wasn't any. And like, people like kind of laughed it off. It's like, no, he's being serious. He literally thinks in a heads I win, tails you lose kind of thing. It's so crazy. And people fucking vote for this bullshit. Like, and you know what? Okay. You know what? Well, you guys go. You guys go. I'm going to run myself
Humberto,
hoarse in like the first 10 minutes.
How's Humberto feeling?
Yeah, how are you feeling
today? How
about
is
it?
it
I know
at
that
work
you
today
you
and
voted
stuff,
for
yeah.
Trump, right? So you feel good.
My third time. My third time voting for Trump.
Third time for the day, right?
Make sure to be, or you can hold it up to you too.
No, I got it. Thanks. I feel really, I think like you, really disappointed in the Democratic Party. I think they were really doing
Shameful.
a lot of weird things there at the end. I thought like parading out the Cheneys, like begging George W. Bush for an endorsement. It was like, wow, what are you guys doing?
What
Like,
does this say about
you're like
you?
putting together like the 2004 Bush administration, like a really unpopular one, and just kind of like giving nothing policy wise. progressive. I remember talking to Natalie about a month ago, saying like, all Kamala has to do is just say she'll pull out of Gaza, and she would definitely get a lot more votes, and just listen to people on that side. I think they really are
They refused to even let a Palestinian speak at the DNC.
Yeah, they're a pretty warmongering party, I think,
Yeah.
Like,
instead, she made sure to let us know that we would have the, quote, most lethal fighting force in the world.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
exactly.
Trump just gets to straight up lie and say that he's the anti-war candidate.
Yeah.
And people believe him.
Neither of them are, though.
Exactly. But he says he's anti-war, so people vote for him based on that. They literally do. That guy that was on Hassan Piker's stream today, he was going on about that. He's like, that's the thing. When it comes down to it, he didn't start any wars. And Hassan schooled him on that, of course. He's like, it's not really how this works. He was very, very much a warmongering candidate, but the Democrats are really bad at lying about that. And the Republicans
because they
aren't.
don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's like, and he's like, well, I think he's just the one that'll be the anti-war candidate, and it's like, it's crazy. People believe that, and all they had to do is not be the warmongering, neoliberal Republican lights, and just like all the campaigns that they won at the national level over the past 20 years, whatever.
That's these Democrats here. What I feel like they do is just not learn. Like Humberto's saying, putting together an administration that was deeply unpopular in 2004, these same kind of faces that were around. I mean, like warmongering or whatever. But then you go talking about like voter turnout. Okay, so like Barack Obama, there was like some pretty big voter turnout in, some of these elections. And what he ran on is like hope and change. And people are like wanting something different.
Yeah.
They keep wanting something different. And the Democrats then give us Hillary fucking Clinton. Thank you. After Bernie Sanders should have had, can be very much argued that he should have had that nomination, and he wasn't an extreme candidate.
Running
if so many fucking people
hope and change
are wanting this sort of change, like specifically like healthcare, like something to change, they took that away from us. Then, when we had an opportunity, they put in motherfucking Joe Biden as their choice. It's like, he's literally been in politics for like 40 years,
it's like the
50
Nixon
years
administration. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. They don't learn from these elections. Like literally these elections, a thing about ranked choice voting is not only all of these math things, it tells you something in no uncertain terms. People are able to rank. That tells you something about, look at all these people that voted for this candidate who still might have lost, but what was their message? What made them popular? What made this constituent like rank them number one, over these more viable candidates that are going to win or whatever. And you learn something from that. You learn about what people want because they voted for it, So you have these elections go by, you see people voting, what they're voting on, what they're wanting, and they just will not learn. They go from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris. And she has the exact same motherfucking campaign when she literally could have been totally blank slate. Yeah, maybe even worse and more centrist than Joe Biden. Possibly like more milquetoast than any of these things that they're saying extreme left. It's like the most popular candidate up on those stages was Tim motherfucking Waltz that you guys are saying is
Why
like
did they
too
even
far
pick
left?
him?
And he was
if
the
they
one
weren't going to be progressive. Why didn't they run on free school lunches for everyone? People like Tim Walz.
That's what
Tim
it's like.
Walz was so popular because he was one of the ones that made the extremely effective political messaging of the GOP is weird. Those people are weird. That stuck for weeks. And it was energizing. It's like, these people are fucking weird. It worked. It made me like the Democrats. I liked Tim Walz, no matter how much I disagreed with so many of their policies. And then you know what they did? They turned around and said, hey, look at all these GOP people that like us. Well, I want to put a Republican in my cabinet. What?
Yeah.
Well, good for you, Kamala. Now the cabinet's going to be full of Republicans. You must love that even more. Uh-oh.
We're having
you're-
some... You haven't...
Ear monitor issues.
Oh my god! Humberto
But,
put in his earbud upside down, and it was like pressing against the...
Yeah, so it was like... It didn't like pause the recording, did it?
No, it's not in control.
Oh, we're live.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, this is
Okay.
live, baby. But
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
yeah, we'll do it
That'll
live.
be in the new...
No,
Put
that's a
that
good one.
in
But
the intro.
yeah, that is true. The Democrats were likable when they have what? Bernie Sanders, when they have Tim Walz, and then they keep calling this too fucking extreme. But it's like, how is it extreme if we like it? If we like it, that's what's normal. That's what we want.
See, the problem is, the only reason, and so, okay, and then exit polling from all this, these maniacs keep pointing to this, these exit polls, talking about how many more people think that the Democrats, the Democratic options, were too liberal, too extreme to the left, while the conservatives
Those are Trump
weren't
voters.
too conservative. And it's like, that's your fault because you keep moving the window to the right. You keep ceding ground to the Republicans. It's like, literally, the Democrats should just become part of the GOP. I don't understand why they aren't just part of the GOP. There should be a completely different fucking party. There is no progressive party in America, let alone a leftist party. The DSA should be a party. Something. Anything. It should be formed from a coalition of the DSA, CPUSA, the PSL, whatever. None of these people will fucking get along, so it's a pipe dream. You know, they all hate the DSA, even though they're the only ones who have over 50,000 members, let alone 400,000. But it's like, I mean, the more that they kept moving over, then of course they're going to look and be like, well, Kamala's a left-wing radical. It's like, what? She wants to build a wall and put kids in cages. She hasn't mentioned healthcare in 9 months.
She wants to
What are
have
you
a
talking
lethal
about?
military.
Yeah, she wants to murder a Palestinian child on live TV. What are you talking about?
She said that.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't doubt it for a second. But
I just feel like she also just seems, it's interesting what it means to feel like an authentic person, or an inauthentic candidate, or someone you'd want to have a beer with, or whatever that kind of vibe is, where it's like, your vice president is out there, everyone's stumping for you, be like, this is the person for the job. I think they're amazing. I'm so glad for them to be my boss. They have all these values. They have these plans, they really inspire me and all this. There's blah, 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 blah. You can't really do that with Kamala because, who the fuck is she? Who the fuck is, what is this?
Mamala didn't work. It didn't last very long.
No.
I feel like they went, I don't know what they went away from,
The coconut fell.
yeah, she exists within the
It
confines.
rolled away from the tree.
Yeah, I don't know.
that's the
I feel
thing.
like because
That's the thing.
they don't have
2020
What we're
Kamala
saying is
disappeared.
no. They
Yeah,
have
That's what it was.
Tim Walz there, like you're saying, and they choose not to use him. So it's so why do you have
They
him?
neutered him.
Because who are you? Do you want? Why would you pick this progressive candidate? Do you want kids to have school lunches, or are you what? What am I voting for here? What kind of leadership are you bringing? What is your vision? I just don't. It's so like you want to appeal to everybody, that it's so random. It feels so just like not this wholly cohesive view of like based on like these fundamental values that you spent like this your life like being, and you know, do this, and these are the things I'm really proud of, and these are the things that blah 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 blah. It just is like, I thought she would be a better candidate. I guess I thought that she'd be a stronger leadership. Yeah, and like
horrible candidate.
I just thought that she would be like, take this and be like, fuck yeah, like I've been this driven woman, I could do this, and like really take that role. And she was like a coward or a nobody. She's just like you're just like mid, like you're no fucking Tim Walz. You're no Bernie.
Biden,
well, honestly,
Joe Biden was saying,
and I just really feel like it's
You'll just have to
I just
talk
really
over
feel like it's marching orders from the Democrats. What were you
It
saying
is.
to Tim Walz?
I was telling Humberto he was going to say something, and I was like, you'll just have to talk over him. We just have to interrupt each other.
Yeah.
I was saying at least Joe Biden, like when he ran, he was like running on canceling student loan debt. You know, like that was like pretty hopeful. It never happened, but I mean, Kamala had nothing. She had nothing really,
and even
like
even the things that
$25,000
she
for
did.
a house.
So
I mean, she can't even sell
first-time homebuyer credit, something.
Those
like,
are, and she had like some of those things are good, but it just felt like she just really was.
The price gouging thing for groceries, that was good. Way too late. The very easy thing of trying to deschedule cannabis at the federal level, like help with marijuana. She did that. She announced that like
Sunday,
4 days before the election. Like, what the fuck? People have already voted, you moron. What are you talking about?
You know what?
Desperate.
But you know what? You can say, okay, so she did run for president already, and you have like a plan, right? You know, this is like a big job. A big job.
Big job.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, something you put a bunch of time into and a lot of effort. So then she's just sitting over here as vice president, doing not shit, not going to run. Joe Biden's running.
Big jobs.
And so, yeah, not a big job at all. She's the VP. And so then you have this short amount of time. It is like a huge ask to be like, okay, now you have a campaign and you have these stances, and like you haven't really been exactly thinking about it, and things are different from when you ran 8 years ago or whatever it was, blah, blah, blah. So it is like, it's a real fucking bummer that motherfucking Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. did not fucking say he was not going to run again. It would have been really nice for us to go through a process where we could have put up a good candidate and like gotten to know these people and then be able to formulate that. So like, fuck you, Joe Biden.
Should have run
motherfuck
on a
you, fuck you.
Candidacy.
Yeah.
Yes.
He kind of did when he ran. Like the last time, he was like,
That's what I thought. I thought he was going to
Exactly.
You know?
I thought
That
he was going to go
floated.
down as a motherfucking badass president in that kind of way, you know, like with some sort of
thought
like
it was
that kind of
amazing
leadership.
That he was going to be a bridge candidate. And I remember having those arguments on Twitter when people were like, nope, he never actually said that. That was just sourced from a couple of articles. It's not an actual quote. I was like, man, I swear I remember that specifically. I just remember it so vividly.
What is
hearing
that called?
He was going to run. It's like the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so vividly that he was going to run as a one-term president. And I guess not. And he was like, nope, I'm running again. I'm like, what the fuck? I wouldn't have. That's insane. What are you talking about? You old coot? Like, that's not what people want. We wanted you to just take the country back from Trump and then give it to a new, fresh generation of progressives. I thought that was the entire plan.
Even though he took a long time to even run in that place, he was like, I'm not going to run, and all this. And he finally, and it was like, why did you do that? Why did you do that?
They just anointed him.
It really was.
After
I feel like
Elizabeth fucking Warren practically trashed Bernie's campaign, and then everyone just fell in line and fell behind Biden because nobody wants an actual progressive who hasn't raised money for the Democrats because he's an independent. Even though people fucking want progressive ideals. And that's why
And change.
Bernie stays popular.
And change.
Because of progressive things, and just like that age-old thing that I even heard Hassan say again today, people like progressive policies, people hate Democrats.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People are
I hate
talking about,
Democrats.
look, it's because the country had
hate
this
the
huge
Democrats.
rightward shift. Look at these votes. It's like, no, the country doesn't have a rightward shift. The country doesn't want to vote for you. For
Bernie-
you people. God.
Bernie was trashing Democrats today.
Nice.
Yeah.
As he should.
He was like saying that like working class people left the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party left the working class people. He's like really.
Yes, I read that.
I felt like he used some pretty strong language about it, like
And
pretty much saying
people
that Democrats
still-
deserve to lose.
People still blame him. Idiots. Morons.
Who do they think
That's
he voted
because you're
for?
an honorless, lying little turd.
Trump?
People are still blaming third-party voters for what happened yesterday.
No way.
It's like, if you combine
15
all
million.
of the third-party votes, even from blue states, Kamala still wouldn't win. And a lot of those would have gone to Trump, too. Moronic. Like, she did not turn out the votes. She did a bad job. The Democratic Party, I hate even blaming her, because like I said, I just feel
Yeah.
like
It's Joe
the
Biden.
marching orders, the messaging were wrong. Joe Biden is the problem because of the position they put her in to just, all right, it's up to you. So then if it's up to her, they need to have the proper strategy. And the strategy was bad.
I felt
Really bad.
like it really changed around the DNC. I felt like it was going good.
Yeah.
It was going good, and then they had the DNC, and it
Yeah, and it was like,
became really
ugh.
like the
were
first
a
sign was
couple head
there.
scratchers.
Yeah, I was like, okay, not a good platform. They kicked out Hassan.
Yeah, I remember-
Yeah, right?
Yeah, they kick out Hassan Piker. They yell freakish stuff at the Palestinian pro-Palestine
Yeah.
protesters that were outside. I thought it was going to turn into like a 1968 Chicago convention thing. I was like, great, this is going to be a nightmare. But no, they wouldn't even let it get to that, because they're not even going to let people in that they wouldn't even let would-be Democratic supporters in that happen to protest certain policies of the Democratic Party. And then, so they kick people out. They don't let any Palestinian people speak. Even the only Palestinian congressperson, they won't even bring them up. And then I tune into the DNC at one point. I remember I was like washing dishes. I'm like, all right, let me go see what's on the DNC. And there was like this right-wing sheriff speaking at the DNC. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Just 4
Sound like a
years
little
ago,
star.
you guys were saying Black Lives Matter, and now this is what I'm looking at? Fuck you. Like, what is this? It was just, what are you guys who are you trying to get? Like,
Trump
we were
voters.
talking about this. Yeah. We're talking about how they're pandering to the right. They're moving to the center. They're bringing on the Cheneys. They're bringing on like these psychotic 2004 war cabinet people. And it's like, to see how many people they could peel away from the middle or from the right, people who are tired of Trump. It's like, okay, 2020, 94% of or 96%. 94%? Yeah, 94% of Republicans voted for Trump in 2020. And then in 2024, you know what percentage of Republicans voted for Trump?
I think it was 1% more, right?
94%. It's exactly the same. They did nothing.
That's
yeah.
Like, what do you expect? You fucking idiots? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You have to get independents, young people who didn't vote before, or maybe the same people that voted for Joe Biden in 2020 to start with.
At least
Yeah.
people who already voted,
the
you were
people who
on that
voted
ticket.
Yeah, the people who voted for what was considered at the time defensively, they would say, actually, this is the most progressive platform any Democrat has ever had. Hey, Joe Biden's going to be the next FDR. He wants to bring back the fireside chats. He's the next FDR. We want to.
Can you imagine?
I want to have a Republican in my cabinet.
Can you imagine?
God.
Every weekend with Joe Biden? 2 hours? Yeah. Just
You know what?
yeah.
Maybe that would have kept his approval rating a little higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on, sit down. No, sit down.
Or we would have like really found out about his
Dementia.
yeah, quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd get the sympathy votes. You know? They'd be like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's like literally what got to me, where I was like, I thought from the beginning, I was like, this guy's too old. Like, come on, he's so out of touch. Maybe he can get things done. But I remember some of those gaffes where it was like, they're like, oh, come on. People have their gaffes. You know, people make mistakes.
Of course.
You know, he's still pretty spry. But there were a couple of things where I'm like, the way that he just acted is exactly how my now somewhat dementia-ridden grandmother just acted when I saw her the other day. I was like, this is not good, people. I was like, and now, you know what? It turns out the person with the cognitive decline did win the election.
Yeah, so it never would have knocked him out of the race. But it just feels like it's fine to be like that, Joe. It's fine to have dementia and be old. That's great. But maybe, like, there are just other options for us voters. You don't have to be the oldest person in America, you know?
How about you just... Yeah, and how about, you don't have, like, the most stressful job on planet Earth.
Really,
and you try to live a little longer.
It's, like, very, 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 like, very, very, very important job, actually. Like, it has a lot of repercussions for a lot of people, which makes it, like, kind of critical, because, like, things you do actually trickle down in a way that affects, like, billions of people, you know, in some way or another. You know, you're doing your job as a cashier or whatever, can be kind of annoying to do stuff wrong, but this is like the president of the United States, and it'd be nice. Yeah, if it, like, could we just have a little bit of higher standards? That just didn't seem like too much to ask. Like, that you're just not the best. Just because you're it right now doesn't mean that of the, you know, I don't know, 100 million people that are, you know, meet the requirements to be president, like that you're going to be the number one choice in some Survivor like sort of like series of contests or whatever.
Like, well, what makes you more qualified than all these other people?
That's the sound of his brain.
Yeah.
But then, like, who else?
As he's facing the other direction.
Yeah, like, who else? They don't really have any other
stars.
Yeah, they don't have anybody out there.
Yeah.
Who I could really...
Yeah, the Democrats don't have anyone that people like.
Yeah, Tim Walz.
It's like they have
Bernie. He's old too.
Tim
also
Walz,
old.
That would have been
Gretchen Whitmer.
I mean, like, there could... Yeah, I feel like we would come to like someone if we got to know them.
It's gonna be Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin Newsom. I guess that there's just like... There just have to be options. It's like, if they knew that it was open, would people that are like some of these names that you've heard, would they be able to like actually try and run and then like be maybe like on a debate stage with someone?
Andy Bashir, come on. Like all these people. Andy Bashir, like a progressive that won the governorship in Kentucky. Hello. Like,
yeah, that's like kind of maybe some of the leadership we're looking for.
Instead, you want to just be like, how about check this out? We're going to campaign with Mitch McConnell. That's what you're going to want, right? God. Jesus Christ. No, nobody wants that. It's like, nobody wants that. So, and that's the thing. So I was saying today, and okay, I got to ask. I'm just a guy. I'm a white guy, right? Just a guy. So I can't even speak on it. But so often now I keep seeing prominent smart voices, too. They're saying that so much of this was really just misogynoir. Like, it's just racism and sexism. And while, of course, it plays a part in it, you know, sexism or something. People don't want to vote for her. I just don't think, I truly don't believe that that's the turning point in her losing this election. Because if you think that there are people that won't vote for Kamala because she's a woman or because she's black, those are the type of people that already had their mind made up and they were going to vote for Trump. Like, I just truly don't believe those were voters that you were going to get.
Not if you pull
what
out.
Do you think, though?
Not if you pull out Liz Cheney.
Yeah. Now it's in the bag.
Yeah,
that will win them over.
Like, what kind of voters were you? I guess you know what? Yeah. They think that those were gettable voters. Then you could think that she lost because she didn't get
that
those
Nikki
voters.
Haley would beat Kamala. If Nikki Haley had been the Republican nominee, I think that she, as a Republican candidate, would have beaten Kamala. I think that she... So I feel like sexism and racism and all that kind of stuff, of course, that's like going to be like a lot, kind of like some of these like more subtle aspects to like why people wouldn't like her and all this kind of stuff or vote for her. But yeah, it feels like a little bit sexist to blame it on that or something. It just like, it's like, no, it's like taking,
or it's like if Kamala was running against or if Kamala had run with Joe Biden's campaigning strategy and platform from 2020, and let's say she was running against like Ron DeSantis, she'd win. I believe that 100%. Like, the thing is, what got to me, though, they're like, yeah, but America just won't elect a woman president, let alone a black woman. They already elected a black woman vice president. She was on the ticket. She was in the White House. I just don't believe that. Like, I just truly don't believe that. I think her campaign was that bad. Like, I think
I
that's
don't think
a
those
serious
15
cop-out.
million people were like, what? A black woman I already voted for? Like, on this last ticket?
I don't think so, mister. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they drop all their stuff in shock. Okay. Well, yeah. Because, I mean, like I said, of course it plays a part, I guess, but it's like, I mean, Hillary won the popular vote by a lot, even though she lost the election. And people hate that woman. So, I mean, I truly kind of doubt that. So she won the popular vote by like 4 million or something like that, right? So,
but those were illegal voters, so you know. That's,
yeah, that's true.
You have to remember.
She had all those illegal votes in California for some reason. I guess is what Trump was saying. Yeah.
Wait, something to be proud of, though. You know what? There were only 2 states that didn't move to the right over the last election cycle, and you know what one of those states is?
Utah.
No, wrong. Oh. That moved in a progressive direction is Washington State. So
Utah's the other one.
That they didn't move.
They moved to the left.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they'll
Mormons.
be. Yeah. I wonder what that means for them. But yeah, like all of these, a lot of places moved right.
Yeah.
Like
it's kind of a mixed bag. That's the thing when we're talking about policies or people. Because, I mean, you know, Trump wins, the Senate goes red. I think, the Dems lost the House too, right? I mean, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But kind of a mixed bag on referendums and ballot measures and stuff. Red states, a lot of places got abortion rights codified, or at least places where Trump won. Nevada, they constitutionally protected right to abortion.
Florida missed it by 3%. It was like the most heartbreaking thing to see.
Because they had to have 60%, right? Mm-hmm. And they just missed cannabis legalization too.
Yeah, they did.
Because they had to have 60%. Which still, and they had majorities, which sucks. It's like, God damn, 60%, what the fuck? But
that's tough.
I was like, what are you doing down there? And which is kind of crazy too, because they're so red. But and like, what was it? Missouri, $15 minimum wage. And all of this different stuff. I think. But yeah, what was Utah? What did Utah do? They had
shifted
something.
They shifted to the left.
Yeah, I forget what, there were at least a couple ballot measures there. But like I said, mixed bag. We were talking about before the show. For whatever reason, California decided to not abolish slavery for some reason. I think maybe because they called it involuntary servitude, and you didn't get the actual word slavery until you read through a couple paragraphs and got to the argument portion that was... in favor of the amendment. So I think a lot of people, I don't know, maybe people are just pro-slavery for people in prison in California, or people are just dumb and they didn't really read through much of it. And once they saw it would be a constitutional change, they're like, and they voted no. I don't know. About these Californians. Do you know, Humby?
No, I hadn't even heard about it until the election. But you know what I would guess it is? I would guess it's probably confusing on the ballot.
Yeah,
because
a lot of those are.
Yeah, like we had some initiatives out here, and I felt like the wording for them was like really.
3 out of 4 didn't pass. Woo woo!
Yeah.
I don't know about the fourth one though.
Yeah, the fourth one is still at like 51 to 49 or whatever, but the wording on them is really confusing because like.
Yeah.
That's why you have to have good messaging where it's like no on 2117. You would see it everywhere.
Yes.
Vote no on 2117. It's that bright yellow one. I know that's for the environment. Like you have to have like sort of that kind of messaging and like door knocking stuff down.
I hate how they write these. It's like, it's crazy.
We said,
and it's like,
November.
November, because it was no on 4 ballots.
Vote no on everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the way that they write those, it's like, do you want to not repeal this?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what? And it's literally like that all the time. There's just something I'm like, okay,
weren't we
wait a
just
minute.
talking about that?
Okay.
That there's like
because I
cases.
just do not pay attention to ads because I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I'm not going to look up who funded this. I'm going to look through the measure. I'm going to look through how it's written, or I'm going to look it up on Ballotpedia, something like that.
Progressive Voters Guide.
Yeah, or the Progressive Voters Guide, something simple, straightforward. I'm going to look up who actually wrote this, I'm going to look at the state legislature or something. But I'm not going to go any further than that because I don't want to be told about this because no good. But then when you read if you read just what's on the ballot, it's like, oh God, okay, let me read that again. Let me read it backwards like I'm proofreading it. And just put these words together one by one because there's like 3 double negatives in here. But at least this one was easy where it's like, all right, just vote no on all of them, which kind of sucks. It's like I feel like a negative Nancy over here.
Yeah, it feels
we're
like
not getting anything done.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like we're not progressing on anything.
Because these are and these are like, because literally we're not progressing, it's like regressing because these are to repeal things we have in place.
Progressive things.
And that's all that we have on the ballot. We didn't have Seattle.
On the defense.
Humby and I got to vote on Seattle Proposition 1, which is like a levy, right?
Yeah.
That it's like this huge spending thing, and it passed by a lot. It's like one of the biggest spending levies they've had. I forget, 1.5 whatever. So that was cool to see. We'll see what what they do with, what that means, probably more road work. So good on us. God damn it.
There's always road work.
I know, it's crazy.
Which is a good thing, but it's annoying.
It's constant.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, here we go right off the bat. 49,000 likes. The media this morning saying Dems need to have a reckoning. No, we don't. We can't be blamed because we expected Americans to be who they always claim they are. Democrats don't have a messaging problem. America has a racism problem. Oh, yeah.
Who said that?
Okay, so just what? Keep doing what you're doing? Morons. Absolutely insane, egotistical, like, just addicted to losing. Like, what are you talking about? God.
Who posted that?
Stephanie Jones, president of the N.R. Jones Foundation, attorney, writer, former U.S. DOT deputy chief of staff, Senate Judiciary Committee counsel. Holy moly. These are Washington insiders saying stuff like this. Absolutely insane. Oh, I forgot let's see. I got a couple of things here. Even stuff that's kind of cope from people that, I don't know, I just don't think that it's a good way to go about this. Yeah, but some of the way that they went about it. Okay, to reinforce our point, it doesn't matter if you send out a good ground game if the ground game is antagonistic to getting the votes that you need, right? If you're trying to get, Republican voters? If you're not getting the correct message out, It's like, yeah, you're in Michigan doing what? Talking about killing Palestinian children? Talking about how you love Israel?
Fracking.
That's not what you do in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah, they said Bill Clinton.
Yes!
Bill Clinton. Oh, that
Yes!
was most
He pretty much said, stop whining to people. Insane. Like, even if he didn't say that, get Bill Clinton far away from your party. Who wants to hear from Bill? Lolita Express Clinton.
And he looked bad. He looks old. He looks like this is the fresh face of your party. Is the president from 20 years ago or whatever it was?
God.
Whatever years it was. More than that. Yeah,
30
30 years ago, practically. And he's like, if you're just, who are the...
Felix Biederman said, they sent Liz Cheney on a 3-state tour. They sent Kathy Hochul to PA. They sent Richie Torres to Michigan to start flossing in front of people who had lost half their families. Like, it's idiotic. Yeah, barbarism critic, one of my favorite people. As a person who hits myself in the head with a hammer every day, I think that keeping the entire Biden campaign team in place was a fantastic idea. But it's like, yeah, it's like, it doesn't matter if you're in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania if you're just going to go out and, shoot supporters with BB guns all day. You're not going to get votes if you don't have a good message.
I guess
if you're not appealing, if you're not just going out and being like, you know what? Even if you go out and you just lie and you decide not to talk about Palestine wasn't like a huge issue in the election. It is for leftists, and you could have just pretty much not lost many voters and just had only something to gain by saying, hey, we're going to arms embargo on Israel. We're going to work this out. But that's just a small part of it. If you just gone out and been like, we're going to do better for you. We're going to lower the cost of housing. We want to work on health care. We want to make sure that millennials can get homes. But you didn't do any of that. Instead, you said, we're going to reach across the aisle. Here's Liz Cheney. Here's an AIPAC slob. What the fuck?
I mean,
what are you talking about?
What are you doing with these people as your, why is this your community? Why is Bill Clinton even here? Why would he be doing speeches for you maybe if he was in Alabama, if you needed votes, you could send Bill Clinton because that's where, or Arkansas, or wherever he's fucking from, Arkansas, I guess, whatever.
Arkansas.
If you needed it there, what are you doing? Isn't there somebody better that could, because why would you? I mean, that's some of this I always think it's different for us here in Washington because we don't see the kind of ads and the messaging. We don't experience elections the same way that some of these states do that are what it would be like to be in Michigan or Ohio or Pennsylvania or whatever.
Be a nightmare.
Ohio, but,
yeah.
It just would be, you'd be hearing a lot more, maybe. And some in a good way, if they need your votes, maybe you could get people more informed if you had some people in those communities that are maybe from those communities and feel like your message was like resonates with them, like that would be the way to do these kinds of things, is to have people like on your side, instead of you're having to have Liz Cheney and Bill Clinton go do your stumping for
Richie
you.
Torres.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
what are you?
God. Kathy Hochul. Oh my God. Just like, oh yeah, send the hated New York governor. Take the New York route. One of the biggest flops in recent Democratic memory. What a stronghold where you underperformed recently. New York. And it's like, and here's your base. After this happens, here's the liberals, right? After this happens in Michigan, you get liberals on Twitter, and I've seen stuff like this all day. It says, if you're in Michigan, don't continue to patronize those corner stores, shops, bakeries, and gas stations owned by Arab Americans. They showed you who they are. Stuff like this is going on all day. And just like we said it would. They're like, well, good luck when Trump deports you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Dems are going to look themselves in the mirror, take a deep breath, and tell themselves, we got to get more racist. That's all that's going to happen. They need introspection, but they're going to stomp their feet and say, am I the one who's so out of touch? No. It's the voters who are wrong. God.
Man, I don't know if you've seen Veep, but Humberto and I were watching it the other night, and literally...
Oh, I love Veep.
It is... Selena Myers is the epitome of that. She does not take responsibility for any of her actions. She blames her team. She blames the dumbass voters. The other night, it was just a scene that was just so much like that, where it was like a real, like a moral kind of call out, and her just completely like missing the point and blaming it on someone else. Like, it just is... they're so...
Lost.
You know what gets lost in all this? And I feel bad. It's like, and the Democrats did so bad, and they lost this layup of an election against this convicted felon and rapist and already unpopular president who lost the popular vote twice. And the thing is, like I said, the American people, it's like, oh, the American people are just more fascist than we thought. No, they just end up being taken in by fascist people, right? Because if this goes down the way that it could, it's the people aren't going to like it. They're not going to like what they voted for. And I'm not going to like that for them. It's going to suck. Like, what could really happen? All of these women that voted for Donald Trump, I'm not going to revel in the fact that their lives are going to be horrible. Like, it's just what the Democrats have done to these people by tripping over their own balls and losing this election is unforgivable. Doing this to the American people, losing to this fucking slob, like this fascist fucking loser, like doing this to the women of America is fucking gross. It pisses me off so much. Like that this is where my daughter's growing up, in this shithole. The fact that the Trump wins the presidency, they take the Senate, they're going to get 7 out of 9 Supreme Court justices, and they could literally have a national abortion ban. Drives me insane that day one they legit could, because he could do it without congressional approval, because it's just because it all falls under executive branch cabinet supervision. He could start the mass deportations. He could start doing that day one. He could set up concentration camps.
He said he
and like the thing is, all those people that voted for it, they could be like, there would be half of them that would be like, oh my God, I didn't think it would be like this. It's like, yeah, it's because you're stupid, but it doesn't matter that you're stupid. It's like,
think it out.
I know that you're not that bad of a person. You're not that bad of a person. You didn't know what you were getting into. But I don't know what to do now, except, whatever will get me kicked off of social media for talking about. So, but it's like,
yeah,
it's like,
at least though,
I'm in Trump country, and it's like, so you just hate my daughter? You just hate her? You don't like her? You don't care if she gets raped? You want her to carry a baby to term? Fuck you.
they just don't know what they're talking
disgusting.
about because they don't. Like, it's hard. That's what's so hard to not be like some condescending leftist. But it's like, I know that you don't think like that because that would make you like psychotic. And I don't believe that. So maybe that makes me stupid or whatever. I just don't think that you really truly feel like that. But I was going to say, you know what? At least you can... I don't know if it feels good to have the moral high ground because you know what? You would not revel in the fact you would hate to see some conservative Trump voting woman die of sepsis because she couldn't get an abortion. And you know what the right does though?
Or all of the Latina people that voted for Trump this time around getting deported.
Yeah, of course. The thing
Even though they're legal migrants and citizens.
The thing that they, on the right though, what they love to do that I just feel like is such a horrible part of all this Trump stuff because of who Trump is as a bully is really this like, they're so mean too. Not just like hateful and bigoted. They're so incredibly mean. Like their whole thing is like they like to make us cry. They love seeing us be triggered. They think that it's like it makes them feel good. Like, this abstract stuff or whatever. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing, but they're like, oh, does that make you feel like, oh, you're so triggered and all that kind of stuff. They're bullies. They're like a bunch of mean bullies over there. And it's like, damn, you guys just suck. I mean,
yeah,
really,
Matt Walsh today, it's gross. Like, just really, man, I wish I had bookmarked that because he's like, the way that he worded it, it was like, and not from Veep, which you were just watching.
I was just thinking that,
Matt Walsh, the bearded loser,
Matt Walsh,
the fascist freak.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't want to miss any of them. Can people reply to this with your best liberal meltdowns from the election? I want to be able to see them all.
Very Matt Walsh.
Yeah, he's gonna jerk off to him.
Yeah, exactly. And one,
as long as they're young girls.
And someone was like, reposted someone's response because they're like, I feel like people don't understand how cruel this is. Like, because someone made sure to post in his replies, like, hey, look at this one. And it was someone's like, I'm not sure what to do. I'm just trying to find a safe place for my family and my trans daughter or something like that. Like, be safe, everyone. Dark times are ahead or something like that. Something just truly like that. Like, look at this one. Like, what kind of person are you? Like, that's what gets you excited? Like, do you crash cars to get off too or what? Like, you're fucking weird. Like, that's not normal. Like, your life is not normal. Go outside.
Yeah.
Go outside. Touch grass and talk to people. Like, so much of this, it's like, you would not, like, it's like when I come across Trump supporters in real life and actually talk to them about stuff and how stumped they get. Talking to normal people with normal views, even though my views are not normal and I'm not a sane person, or whatever it might be. It's like when people have to think twice at all about the things they say, how they stump themselves. Like, it's just like, oh God, that's right. That is strange. That is a weird thing to think. It's like, yeah, no shit, because it's inhumane. The main part of that word is human. You're supposed to be a human about this. You're not a fucking animal. Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah. Just really mean-spirited and, like, immature. I feel like it's just, like, a very, like, immature win-lose, sort of poor sport, kind of all of their whole thing is just, like, they're just not very nice. Not very kind.
Which is why, and it goes back to, like, it's like that's why the calling them weird worked so well. Because you had this, you got to enjoy that part of the political dynamic where it was like us against them. You got to finally have that thing for the Democrats that the Republicans get to do all the fucking time, except, like, pretty much objectively, for once, you get to do that and be right about it. It's like, except you're right. You get to play this sport and be like, they are weird. Look at this shit. They think women are property, and they have a whole bunch of, like, anti-trans memes saved to their phone, and they are on Twitter all day. They're fucking weird. What are you talking about? Did you listen to this guy talk on the radio? These people are weird. Like, JD Vance is weird. Did you see him at the donut shop? Whatever makes sense.
Yeah.
That is strange behavior.
Whatever makes sense.
You know? It's like they were right. But, you know, it was the opposite of I'd have a beer with that guy. I don't want to have a beer with JD Vance. It's like he's
I
not
don't want
even
to get him his donut order.
Yeah, I would quit my job. I'd be like, whatever makes sense. None of this makes sense, man. Walk out the door and walk back in, and let's try this again, okay? Except when you walk back in, I want you to be a different person and do this differently.
Yeah.
But
Action.
I just can't believe. It's like, the thing is, yeah, people talk about, can be optimistic and be like, we've done this before. Trump has been president already. The best way to look at it is, well, yeah, it was bad, but he could just be inept, you know. He could be inept. He was pretty inept before. It was bad, sure. Take COVID out of it, you know, if we don't have a mass health crisis, which we probably will, because he's going to put RFK Jr. in charge of all of the fucking health
That's who we want in
organizations.
charge in our next pandemic. Oh my fucking god.
Someone who had a literal brain worm.
And isn't a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who covers himself in bugs and, like, straps whales to the top of his car and sounds like he eats frogs.
He has no
while
medical
they're on fire.
Training.
He's not a doctor at all.
He's been an anti-vaxxer since the 90s.
Yeah.
He's a moron. But, yep, so that's going to be the person in charge of all the medical stuff.
Elon Musk will have a
Musk is
job,
going to be in the cabinet. That'll be great. You know, the country's going to go down the toilet. But, you know, setting aside something like COVID could just be, you know, just...
Corporate greed gone wild.
Yeah,
Vivek
I mean, it could just
Ramaswamy.
be...
Vivek?
Yeah, could just be a crappy, just like, you know, he tones it down. It just becomes about money. It could just be, he just goes back to the donors. He makes his money. He makes his people money. The country just turns to shit. We have a recession, blah, blah, blah.
Same
and then
old.
someone has to come in and fix it, you know, yada, yada, yada. We get our
Some
next
centrist
Obama.
will come back in,
Okay.
and then, yeah.
No, I mean, it could literally lead to an actual progressive. The Democrats might learn some sort of lesson. They might actually do some primary reform. Things could happen, but that's the optimistic view. But it's like,
They're gonna run
yeah,
Chuck
we survived
Schumer.
4 years of it before.
Chuck Schumer, 2028.
Yeah, not everyone survived 4 years of him, but also, like, the Senate is red. He has
The Supreme Court.
The judiciary, big time, for the entire term. The House is probably
We have
red.
that Supreme Court for like decades.
Yeah, and 2 of them are probably just going to retire, and he's going to replace them too. So they're going to be like solid for decades with those maniacs. But, who knows? Maybe an expeditious person will just 9/11 the Supreme Court building someday. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
It's going to be on 9/12 just for fun. It's just going to be, but it's a smaller building, so it's just a Learjet just right through. They just steal that psychotic televangelist guy, that like demon guy that has the 2 private jets.
I bought the first one.
They
Cash.
just
I bought the second one. Cash.
He is scary. That is the most frightening
Cocaine's
person I've
powerful
ever
drug.
seen. Yeah. But, well, shout out to everyone. I love you all. I feel real. But yeah, with what's upcoming, I don't know. I'm just not very optimistic. I'm honestly pretty scared for this one. I really am.
We'll get through it. And you know what? I think that
Sure.
there's something to be said
I
for
will.
our... Well,
That's the problem.
Well, that's just too bad because that's the way that it is. And that's the way that it is. And you have to just get through it. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Can't
You
let
just
somebody
get through
else's
it.
life.
You can't do what other people... We have an extreme privilege of living here in Washington State, and we can
Yeah.
use that
It's
kind
like,
of
so
things to
hopefully
be
it
an
can help
ally.
people.
Yeah, and there are going
Yeah.
to be organizations. That is something that Humberto could probably speak to a little bit more, like about the kind of like mobilizing that can happen after these things. They already saw today, like people coming in and being like, "What can I do?" They work like a Latino organization, and like people feel like that. They feel like calls to action, and there are, and there will be, and old MLKJ, the arc of the moral universe is long, it bends towards justice, and you have said that it bends that way because we push it, and that's what will happen. That's always what happens, and it's really devastating. It's awful. Yeah, there's women going to be dying, there's going to be people, who knows what's going to happen with this immigration stuff. It's
Yeah, it's just gonna go
horrible.
crazy.
It could, there's going to be problems, but we got to get through it. There is something here in Washington. Don't take it for granted. The strong, protections we have. We have, something about the United States that we are so just fucking lucky to be living here, that there's, strong states' rights. That's, something that is, kind of a thing here in the United States, where it's, if you have a state that you agree with, in this way, they can go to bat for you, and, they can really keep things, keep the federal government
Hope the word
kind
gets
of
out
away.
to people, in Florida, stuff like that. It's, places like Washington very much welcome, trans people, trans youth, people that feel frightened. It's, so if you could find ways to get support, to get over to places like that.
Humberto and I
I don't
used
know,
to
it
work
could get
with
pretty bad.
a bunch of people from Florida. All the canvassers that would come and canvass for Amnesty International. So many. One time in the room, it was dang, so many of you guys are from Florida, and they're all young, queer,
And it's getting bad, is what they said.
it's they don't want to live there. They don't feel safe there and all that. So it is better in some of these places. We're working on making it better, and it fucking sucks. And it's okay to feel like it fucking sucks, because God damn it. I mean, Humberto and I laid in bed this morning just holding each other. It's really, really shitty. Just profound disappointment. It feels like grief. Really another fucking 4 years. Way worse. Blah, 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 blah. All this kind of stuff. But
Well,
we'll pick ourselves up.
couple years.
We
and
got
then a couple
this.
years of J.D. Vance.
Yeah, let's...
I'm sure Trump is going to die in office.
That's what I'm like. Who cares about Vance? He's a little bitch. We can...
Vance is a
Yeah.
little bitch. Honestly,
I'm not
he'll be a puppet for somebody.
can't-
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a nobody. He doesn't have any He's not the one I got
He
an
doesn't
eye
have
on.
the sauce.
You think he's gonna suck off a mic? You think JD Vance is gonna suck off a mic in front of everybody? Come
Doesn't
on.
have the sauce.
He doesn't have it.
Yeah.
You think he's
He
gonna
won't
do
He
an
have
got
the
that
song.
dog in him.
He's gonna do an hour of Ave Maria? No. JD Vance would never.
He doesn't have
Never. The type of guy. I mean, JD Vance. I was thinking of that earlier too. That goes to show people, all these dumbass right wingers who are like, well, maybe if you guys didn't call us fascists all the time, things would have gone differently. It's like, that's a really stupid argument. Has nothing to do with the electoralism here. Shut up.
And you
guys
guys
are
a fascist, so I
Yeah,
mean,
so maybe if you stop doing fascist shit, we wouldn't call you fascist. But it's like, it kind of says something when Trump's now vice president called Trump America's Hitler just a few years ago. So
yeah,
I think there's something
that's
there.
old bitch boy Vance.
Just a little
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what's there. There's something there.
There's
Someone should
something
dig
there.
into
Yeah,
that.
I think it's got legs.
Dude,
But it also goes to show what a little bitch he is too.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it's
Totally.
like, and he just folds.
during Trump during
it's
his
like
acceptance
Cruz.
speech, he slided JD Vance during his acceptance speech. He was like, I want to thank my vice president, JD Vance. Turned out to be a good choice, yeah?
Yeah,
That's what he said.
we watched
Like,
Trump's acceptance
Yeah.
speech, and he was like, for a long time so he's just like going and talking about the story about that rocket that Elon Musk's
my
company,
God.
like
Oh my
it came
God,
down and he
yes.
stood up
With the paint.
and Humberto was like, this is his acceptance speech. I was like, oh my god.
Dude, he had Dana White come out. He shouted out Joe
Oh my
Rogan
God.
in his presidential acceptance speech.
Yeah.
What?
He was like,
Good
this
Lord.
is crazy.
Yeah, he's like, I can't believe
you know
I won the popular
Yeah, he's
vote.
like,
That's
yeah,
it's like, I
like-
can't believe it's happening.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it's,
You're like, that's nice.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, but Kamala Harris and her whole concession speech and that hollow, mindless word salad about, everything we fought for. What fight? I don't know. Her smiling and waving at the end of that fucking pissed me off. You lost. You fucked
You
up,
put your
dude.
tail between your legs. I didn't
Really,
see
like,
it.
you should be so upset. Like, where are you going from here? What, are you smiling because you have, like, some big plan you're going to organize and help us resist or something? You better be. Where are you going? What are you talking about? You got shellacked. Like, you're going to go down in history as one of the biggest losers of the Democratic Party. God damn, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to be like
She's a
fucking
nobody.
Mondale. God. Jeez. Oh, man. Anyway. But, who knows? I don't know if they could ever run a Democrat that could win like Obama did in 2008. It's like, why don't you just... It's not as easy just to say, like, let's just recreate that. It's like, but why don't you just at least try to do something similar? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Because
The dude won Iowa.
they're trying to
and
just
Florida.
manufacture some of this stuff, and that's like kind of the difference is like it seems and kind of whatever foreign policy, whatever you want to say, but Barack Obama was a community organizer.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like he's like a real person.
He's like
he
in
really
touch with people.
he like
Yeah.
a real person who believes these things and wanted to help people, and like that was
Yeah.
his whole deal. And you can't like manufacture just like someone to be like that. You have to like see people doing that, and you say that's a leader. You know, you can't just
So instead, they take real people, like say like a bartender from the Bronx, and they shit all over him and try to kick him out of the fucking party. And they hate people like AOC.
Yeah.
They make sure half the squad gets kicked out of Congress. It's deplorable. God.
How dare you? They're a basket of deplorables. What a
Exactly.
fucking terrible insult. Also, I just want to give that call back to 2016. That is the most, like...
They ran with that.
What
they
if,
loved
but
it.
I mean, it's like the least offensive, like most, like out of touch, like privileged, a basket of deplorables? Are you fucking kidding me? That's not even, we couldn't even use that as like something cool. That's embarrassing. Like
Yeah.
they are, it's like, it would have been nice to be like, no, fuck you, you're gonna vote for Trump. And then if we could have smacked that down with a cool candidate, Trumpism would have become less and less. It would have been like, fuck you. Like, there is no space for that kind of attitude. We don't like that shit. Like, Humberto was saying, like, you know what punks do at
Imagine
shows?
if-
They don't hold space for fascists. They punch him in the fucking face.
Yeah.
That's what, you
Yeah.
could be like, get the
Nazi
fuck out of here.
punks fuck off.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Not Nazi punks are deplorable.
There's a basket of them.
Fuck off. It's not all cops are involved in a horrible system of oppression. It's all cops are bastards.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it's straight to the point. It's like imagine in 2016, it's not they're a basket of deplorables. Let's say Tim Walz was back there. It's like, no, these Trump people, they're weirdos. Yeah. They're not going to be like, yeah, we're proud weirdos. It's not going to happen. It's not happening. Instead, it's going to be what they did this year, which was, this is funny coming from you, the real weird ones. That doesn't work. It didn't work. They kept trying to do that, at least online, where a lot of this stuff was going on. It never worked. Because every time they'd be like, oh, yeah, like this, and they'd share some political cartoon or meme or something showing left-wingers being weird, and always the response is, why do you have that? You're weird. It's like, why do you have that? Or did you just make an AI photo of like a blue-haired Starbucks worker doing something weird? You're weird, dude. It's just like, you guys are just showing your ass. You're weird. You're very weird. You know, it worked. And they just decided to walk away from it. I'm so mad.
Yeah, it was a bummer. They had us for a second. They really did, like you said, it made you like the Democratic Party.
Got lived up.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they,
It made me realize it felt like I just fell out of a coconut tree.
yeah, it felt good for a little bit there with an adult in charge like Tim Walz.
But
honestly.
there is a lot of context to the Democratic Party.
yeah,
Turns out, and they're horrible.
Yeah.
the more politics I get, the worse it is.
Yeah.
The more I wish I'd fall out of a coconut tree.
Addicted to losing.
Yeah.
God.
They're losers.
They're just snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
That was such... It could have been such a layup. That's all I'll say about that. I don't know if there's anything else.
It's bedtime anyways. But,
Yeah. I gotta go. I'm just glad that you guys would come on with me. I just really had to get some things out there. It's too bad. We mentioned the 2004 election a lot. I did write that down just as a... that shows one of the times that the Democrats did seemingly learn lessons. Like, they did in 2004 what they did in 2024. And it backfired. And it felt a lot like, because I remember being naive enough to be very surprised in 2004 when I was in high school, when it was like, what? Like, George W. Bush won? I thought he was like really unpopular. People think he's kind of dumb. We're in 2 wars right now. People are dying. All this stuff. And it's like, and he'd won like handily. Wow. There's they're like oppressing gay people. There's all this religious nut job nonsense. Like, geez, I just don't know that much about the American people, I guess. Like, I was like a junior in high school or whatever. And then I heard someone mention it again today, or maybe it was on Majority Report or something like that, or Kyle Kalinske or something. Like, yeah, a lot like 2004. And that candidate and the way that they did that with John Kerry and that whole trying to appeal to this, like with this establishment character and this centrist, like milquetoast kind of thing, just blew up. He stank. No one like John Kerry. It's like, and the guy who people liked, Edwards, I think, was one of them that year and stuff. They booted him. They found out he was having an affair. Can you imagine that?
While his wife was dying of cancer.
Oh.
She was going through cancer treatment or something like that. John Edwards was one of those guys. I think that was kind of his, or maybe
that was just
they got
Gingrich
divorced. No, John Edwards was like one of those guys. I think
he did that too.
I mean, but also like, yeah, look at Trump.
Howard Dean. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. I think nowadays. Yeah, Howard Dean. I think that was that 2004?
I don't know when it was, but he was a progressive.
I thought it was 2000.
Was it?
I don't know.
No,
but maybe it was 2004. But anyway, but it's like it just blew up. So, of course, it seemed like going on a big change thing, really. They destroyed the Republican Party in 2008.
Yeah.
And didn't win as handily in 2012, And Obama moved towards the center.
Yeah. And you know what? Obama was like a pretty new senator. Like when he ran for president.
They got a newer guy.
And what have they done? Yeah, since then. Joe Biden's literally 80 years old.
Yeah. Then they ran, Hillary Clinton, someone with more baggage than literally anyone.
American Airlines.
Yeah. Nice. And then Joe Biden. And then
Joe Biden
when
again.
It wasn't Joe Biden, they just ran his running mate who said, "I'm not going to be different than Joe Biden." Okay.
Except I'll have, you know what will be different? I'll have a Republican in my cabinet.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. All right. Love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you. Love you.
Love you guys. Love you.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Shout out
right,
to every
good
person if you
night.
listen this far, especially. What the heck?
Yeah.
Okay, I love you.
I don't even know why you're listening to this,
Okay, I'm gonna stop it.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
That's probably why. And for the next 4 years,
Suck my dick, government!
Nice.
okay. Love you. Bye.